Hello everybody, welcome to the Library Mouse and Book Tag Tuesday. My name is Gina and I am here to do a tag that I have been trying to finish and trying to complete, but just wanted to be able to do it justice. And that is the Booktube Community Joy and Gratitude tag. It was created by Pat over at Book Chat with Pat in celebration of reaching 2,000 subscribers. And I'm sure she has surpassed that by now. I was tagged by Pat and also by Ellen over at Ellen Made Book Club. So let's jump into the prompts. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5 prompts. Okay, as you can see, joy is the next prompt. And this is name an author whose books bring you joy, or a book that brings you joy. I had to stop and think about this because my mind always goes to the same people over and over again, which I'm sure that's true of many readers, but I was trying to think of somebody different. But I just had to come back to this book because this book just is such a standout to me. When I read it, I loved it. I loved the characters. I loved the connection with the characters. And even though not everyone in the book has super joyful times, I think the way that they came together brought them all joy, and I just loved reading this book. And it is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. I loved Eleanor and her quirkiness and just her inability to really care about socializing. And then she kind of starts talking to this kind of non-hygienic IT guy who works at her place of employment. And together, they kind of save this old man. And they form this unusual friendship. And it really helps all of them to come out of their shells and to just appreciate community. And I just love it. It's funny. It's sweet. If you have not read this book, you need to read it. So it's Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. The book just brings me joy when I read it. The next part of joy is discuss something about Booktube that is joyful. The people are joyful. The friendships on YouTube, Booktube specifically, bring me joy. And I think that it's nice to find a place on social media that so far has been very kind, very friendly, and just community minded. And I think to be able to express yourself and to share your opinions and to share books and talk with other people who like books. There's a squirrel right outside my window on a fence, and he is so cute. Hang on, let me see if I can. He's right out there. Oh, there he goes. Anyway, squirrels bring me joy. But it's just a rarity to find that. And it's nice to be able to log on and to put out a video and then read positive comments and to make friendships. And I think that's the most joyful part of Booktube. Another book, or the second prompt, is friendship. Name a book that focuses on friendship. So one of my favorite themes of, I don't know what I would call chick lit, um, are the books that are club based, like the cooking club, um, the knitting, I think it's called the knitting circle, just um, books that really focus on women getting together and enjoying their friendship with each other and enjoying a hobby. Like, I just love those kinds of books. They're just super cozy books to me. And one that popped into my head when I thought about friendship, besides The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pans, which I loved that series. So kind of hokey almost, but I just loved it. But this book I loved. It is the Jane Austen Book Club. And it is about a group of women and one man. They do let a man in. They live in California and they meet to discuss the works of Jane Austen, which is woven throughout the book, but really you're focused on the friendship of these 6 people, their lives, what happens to them, how they're there to support each other or not support each other. But I really, this book, when I think of friendships and like club books, this stands out to me. It is written by Karen Joy Fowler. So if you haven't read it, it's a good book. But yes, that would be my pick for friendship. Okay, the next one is Laughter, an author or a book that makes you laugh. I had an extremely difficult time with this, and it really made me realize that most of the books I read are very serious books. Like, I read a lot of historical fiction, and even if they're not haha funny, they're not even witty or sarcastic. They're just not humorous at all. And I think it really made me realize that I need to focus on finding books that have some sense of humor in them. So if anybody has a great suggestion, drop them below. I am trying to expand what I read because I prefer books about women. I'm very much besides historical fiction, contemporary women's literary fiction is what I enjoy the most. But I really do need to open myself up to some light, humorous books, not just light and sweet, but humorous. I did find, I was like, oh yeah. So Where'd You Go, Bernadette was one of those kind of sarcastically funny books. It was deep, but about a woman who kind of just is fed up with it all. Just is tired of the life she's living, the responsibilities that she has, and she disappears. She pretty much has a meltdown and she goes away, and which is the title of the book, Where'd You Go, Bernadette? And it's good. It's good. I mean, it definitely has a serious undertone running through it, but it is written, let me double check, by Maria Semple. There's a movie too, and I did like the movie. It took me a little while to get into the movie, but the movie was good too. But I need help with laughter, so let me know some books that you would recommend. Okay, the next prompt is community. A book where community is important. And the very first thing that came to my mind was the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. I adored this book. I loved the movie. It is written by Marianne Schaeffer and Annie Barrows. It's such a good book, and the community is great. It revolves around, well, books. So it is, I'll read it from here. It's been a while since I've read this book. There's a writer, it's 1946, and Juliet Ashton is looking for her next book subject. So she finds it in a letter in a man that she's never met, who has come across her name written inside a book by Charles Lamb. They begin a correspondence, and they exchange letters, and he tells her about this Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society, which they have started in order to break curfew when the Germans were occupying their island. And she begins a correspondence with him, the society's members, and then she goes to visit, and she just realizes like how important that community is and those people are to each other. And yeah, it's a very, very good book. It's well written. I love the characters in it. It does have some humor to it, I have to say. It does have some humor to it. But yeah, I would definitely recommend the Potato Peel Pie Society. It's such a good book. And then a communal reading experience I've had. So here is my confession. So the only real communal reading experience I've had is when I have taught. So I coached a reading team called Page Turners with a couple other teachers. And I don't know if other places have this, but in our Tri-County area, or in our area really, they put together teams of kids and they're given lists of books that they need to read. And then the kids come up with questions about the book. And they write their own questions and turn them in. And then there's a competition. So the teams come up on a stage and somebody reads a question and the members of the team can talk and answer. And it is by school, and maybe your school will win. So besides page turners and reading to my class, I really don't have communal reading experiences because I have never been much on joining book clubs. And it has to do with just lack of confidence. I always feel like other people can discuss books in a much more intelligent, deep way than I can. And I've always felt like I'm going to say something silly or not say anything at all in a book club or totally miss the point of a book. So I need to get over that. At 60, you'd think, get over it. But yeah, so that's been my communal reading experience. It's very much lacking. Last but not least, gratitude. A book where a character expresses real gratitude. One of my all-time favorite books is A Year of Pleasures by Elizabeth Berg. I love everything about this book. Everything. It's sweet, cozy, it's a book about this older lady named Betty, and her husband has passed away. And she's trying to adjust to life being a widow. And she decides to sell her house, buy an older home in a small town, and move away from the life that she's known, and move into this house and focus for a year on just being thankful and noticing every little tiny thing that brings her joy. So she really, we're pleasure, which is why it's called a year of pleasures. So, you know, friendships, baking, art, nature. She just goes on this full year of just stopping to appreciate every little thing. And by the end, she discovers, you know, how rich she is because of everything that she has gained by her taking the time to just sit back and just appreciate the little things. Butter on toast, you know, just, and Elizabeth Berg is such a detailed writer, and I think she just really gets into her characters' souls. And I love the character in this book. You feel like you are her. So yes, A Year of Pleasures by Elizabeth Berg, one of my all-time favorite books. Elizabeth Berg is right up there as one of my all-time favorite authors. So thank you so much for tagging me in this. It was a nice way to start Sunday morning. This will come out on Tuesday for Tuesday Tag. But if you're watching this and you have not done the Joy, I better say it right, the Booktube Community Joy and Gratitude Tag, please go ahead and do it, and tag me, tag Pat, so we can watch your video. Yeah, so thanks so much for watching. Happy reading, and I'll see you on the next video.